The good news for Pakistan is that that's about a 6% drop from the previous year. The bad news is more and more of it is happening in the heartland of Pakistan, in the Punjab and in the Sindh. Pakistan, in short, is to some extent engaged in a battle for its soul. And that battle is between those who still believe in Jinnah's vision of a modern, moderate, democratic Pakistan, and the dark forces that threaten that future in Pakistan. One chapter in the book, I try to look at the scenario of what happens if the dark forces take over. Not because I think it's likely, and it's certainly not imminent, and by no means is it inevitable, but it's possible enough that one should think about it for a moment. And if one does, it is the worst nightmare I think anyone can think of. What to do about it? First of all, let's be candid and real. Americans, even with the help of our British allies and the European Union, are not going to change the future of Pakistan. $1.5 billion is a lot of economic assistance for the American Congress, but it's a drop in the barrel for the challenges that face Pakistan. Only Pakistanis can and will decide the future of their country. But there are things that we can do to help them. I have a long laundry list in the book, and I just want to focus on two in closing. First, stop doing harm to the Pakistani democratic process. We all know Pakistan's current civilian leadership is flawed, more than flawed. But it is the democratically elected leadership. We need to work with them, not around them. We need to strengthen them, not undermine them. We need to build them up in terms of their relationship with the generals, not go to the generals all the time for a quick fix. This will become very evident in the presidential trip this year. How the president manages his meetings in Islamabad will be key and will send an enormous signal to every Pakistani. Secondly, we need a springtime of American diplomacy in South Asia. We need to move away from a purely military solution. We need to move away from trying to put band-aids on problems in South Asia, and we need to move towards normalizing Pakistan's relationships east and west. I've mentioned many of the anomalies about Pakistan already. One more. Pakistan is a country, two of whose borders remain unrecognized by its neighbors. The border to the west with Afghanistan, which no Afghan government has ever recognized, and part of the border to the east with India. The challenge for America is to work both of these. The one in the west is what I call the little diplomacy. And we've actually made progress in this area. Afghanistan and Pakistan have a better diplomatic relationship today than they had 2 years ago. And there is movement towards increasing trade and economic activity between them. But more clearly needs to be done, especially when it comes to the question of the Afghan Taliban. Americans accuse Pakistan, with good reason, of harboring the Afghan Taliban. Well, turn it around. If that's the case, then the way to talk to the Afghan Taliban must sooner or later include Pakistan. Pakistan should not control that process, but if not brought into that process, it will be a spoiler. And the challenge of the diplomacy in the East is to bring Pakistan into the process. The bigger challenge, of course, is with India. If you want to affect Pakistan's behavior, especially the behavior of the Pakistani army, you have to deal with the issue that obsesses Pakistani generals and has obsessed them for 60 years. We need to find a way to move Pakistan and India back towards what, ironically, General Musharraf was trying to do in the last years of his office, through the so-called back-channel diplomacy. We need to try to get back to what President Zardari was trying to do before the Mumbai attack. This will mean dealing with the dreaded K word, Kashmir. But it also means dealing with many, many other issues. It is one of the great anomalies of our time that it is harder to fly from Pakistan to India than it is from almost any two other major countries to each other's capitals. It is an anomaly of our time that as India is one of the great booming economies of the 21st century, it does not trade with its most natural trading partner in any significant degree. The challenge for American diplomacy, and indeed more than American diplomacy, global diplomacy, is not to mediate, not to tell India and Pakistan what to do, but to help them find the way to their own solutions. That, many will say, is a profoundly un-American way to do things. Subtle, sophisticated, and behind the scenes. I am an eternal optimist. I believe we can, and I believe we must do it. As I said before, the battle for the soul of Pakistan is at stake. America has contributed enormously to the very dangerous situation we are in today. Therefore, America has a major responsibility to try to assist in getting us out of it. Thank you for your attention.